welcome back to another episode of Chatting with Chip with Barton College football head coach Chip Hester. I am Wilson Times sports editor Paul Durham, and coach, we have a lot to talk about again this week. Another big smile for you after Saturday's game. A 31-17 win over Carson-Newman, as we talked about, one of the most respected, probably one of the most respected, small college football programs in the country, having some hard times this year, but you guys didn't make it any easier on them. Coach, I thought Saturday's game came down simply to the big plays that you guys made in that first quarter, and then, more importantly, the ability to grind it out, hang on to the ball, and just make some tough, hard-nosed defensive plays. Your thoughts on your team's performance?
I completely agree. I think those big plays were the difference in the ball game. We wanted to get out to a fast start. We got out to that fast start, and that put some pressure on Carson-Newman. And I think, defensively we were able to put some pressure and cause some mistakes and created some turnovers that way. And then I think you're right. Back in the day when Emmitt Smith was with the Cowboys, that was their formula to win is get a lead and then run to win. And I thought Jordan Terrell, our offensive line, and tight ends and fullbacks really started to impose their will in that second half, and that doesn't give them many opportunities to make big plays and to catch up. And your defense is fresh, and so they can create those turnovers. So great team win on Saturday.
Yeah, no doubt, Coach. You talked about the offensive line, and the offensive line being your offensive player of the game, so to speak. And that is sort of indicative of when everything goes well on offense, you better give the line credit because they're doing their job. And I think this group is, you got a couple guys sort of going in and out at tackle, but for the most part, you got pretty much the same 5-6 kids counting. And I say kids, they're young men for sure.
Right, for sure. We have had some consistency there, and it's tough. It's a physical game, and so guys were banged up last week. They'll be banged up this week, and I think there's some mental toughness that's involved and some physical toughness. We did play. Brendan Henry came in and spelled Hunter Sauls, who got banged up. So Hunter was able to come back. And so we've got a little bit of depth, but those guys are just tough. They're tough, and they're Coach Orban talks with those guys all the time about being physical, and they are physical. And you talk about pounding the rock. We were pounding the rock on Saturday. I mean, our tailback probably, again, we talked about not giving him so many carries, and we ended up giving him 39 carries. I did not realize it was quite that many, but
I believe that's a career high.
It is. But he, his mentality is whatever it takes for the team to win and be successful. And so, our guys, they've got a strong will to win. They play hard, and that's going to give you a chance every time out.
Absolutely, Coach. We talked about, I think, with the Catawba game, a young team, and certainly I think was true in the spring on a couple occasions, not quite knowing how to win. Being good enough to win, not knowing how to get those plays. I think we've seen your team mature greatly in the last 2 weeks, knowing how to win. My question for you is, how do you manage your own expectations after seeing, it's like a parent watching a child grow, you raise the bar, I guess. How are you managing what you expect out of these guys now?
Yeah, we've talked about consistency, and we've talked about having our mentality being a play-to-play mentality. And so, again, that'll get tested again this week. I think as we watch film on Mars Hill this week, we see a team that's got experience. They've got talent, senior quarterback, senior wideout, senior linebackers. And so I think our guys understand the challenge ahead of them. We're still a work in progress, and we've not arrived. But I think our guys are buying into the concept that if you play hard and you strive to get better every time out and every practice out, that's going to yield some good results. And the thing that we talked about many times, Paul, is that the only thing that we've got some talent, we've got some size, we've got some of these things, but we just didn't have experience. And so we're gaining valuable experience every time out. And, I think the thing as we watch the film with our guys, and I think it's very clear to them and to us as coaches, is that although we did a lot of good things, we played hard, we still made a ton of mistakes. And there's still a ton of things for us to improve on. And so that's what our focus is going to be on going forward this week, and as a matter of fact, for the remaining weeks of the season.
Well, you kind of answered my next question, because like I said, you've always liked to have a theme, but it seems like you found the one that really sticks, and that's been the underlying theme. It's not a weekly thing. I know you use different motivational tactics for guys, and that's great and fun, but this isn't a motivational tactic. This is a philosophy for life. Take it one step at a time, and it seems like you guys have really wrapped around that. So
no question. I think everyone kind of makes fun of Bill Belichick and Nick Saban in their press conferences and things like that, and Dabo Swinney for that matter. Those highly successful guys, they say the same things, and I think you're right. We like to switch it up and give them a little bit of a different slant on it, but really it's the same message, and that's those are things that can be good life lessons too. We want to be a guy that people can depend on every day, and that's heck, we talked about it last week with our guys. The great thing about football is it's a great laboratory for life, and those things that you learn in football, you can apply later on to your life. Being a good husband, being dependable, being a good dad that you can count on to provide for his family and things like that. So those are things that are important to us, and I think obviously they work well for football, but in the grand scheme of things, we're trying to prepare these young people for life after football. Whether or not they play any pro football or not, you're going to have a lot of life to live after you play football, and so we want to do the best we can to develop these young folks.
Absolutely, there's a lot of life after football. But for you, Coach, I harken back in those lonely, quiet days of 2018. I remember sitting down with you at your old office, the old Gold Park Grill. You were the totality of Barton football at that time. That was it. You haven't hired Coach Burnett. You hadn't had anybody. Do you ever, now that your life is back in full swing of a fall season and 100 players on the team and a full staff in the stadium and everything that goes into it that you've done for years, do you ever pause to look back at that time? And then also think, have you gotten to where, I know not where you want to be, but where you are now, lots has happened in the last 18 months, and where do we go from here?
Well, I think Saturday was a great kind of milestone win for the college, and I thought it was our honorary captains for the day were our outgoing and incoming board chair, and our board of trustees had their meeting going on, and so there are a lot of and that was the group that voted to bring football here. So I thought it was a good culmination kind of day, and I think as a football coach or as football players, we keep our nose to the grindstone, and sometimes it is good to kind of pick your head up and see where you've been and where you are, and hopefully where you're going. But we don't have much time to smell the roses on this right in the middle of a season, and so we've just got to appreciate where we are, appreciate where we're going or where we'd like to go, but you've got to, again, that's too big picture to be a successful football program, and so we want to just work on the details and work on getting better on a daily basis and doing the things that we can do to be the best version of ourselves. That's what we talk about all the time, and that's where we'll try to keep our focus.
Well, I hope that kitchen renovation project is getting the same application. We'll be there when it happens.
No doubt.
Well, Coach, I appreciate it once again. We will be back here next week after the Mars Hill game. Hopefully another win for the Barton Bulldogs. So come back and check us out for another edition of Chatting with Chip.